Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with our first actual video for the Yummy Patisserie Journal. This is a beginner series from start to finish. In today's, I already did the reveal video, so you can hop back to the video that published on Monday the 1st of December to look at the kit that I'm using and all of that and what the plan is for the series. So I needed a low stress, low impact kind of project. I'm in the midst, as many of you know, getting set up with a new DSLR camera, which has come with a plethora of issues, as well as my Mac did an update to Tahoe 26.1 and it wrecked my computer. So this video is after 2 days of struggling with every single thing on my computer. So I'm not saying that to whine, but just to be real, like it's the problems for YouTubers in terms of technology and just the stuff is just enormous. So I decided that I wanted to do a project that I feel super confident in. I can share some of my knowledge and have a good time along the way. So in today's video, we're going to be putting together the cover. I've got a list of supplies that you'll need. I also have already selected the signature papers. So as I mentioned in the reveal video, we are going to be mostly using kit paper and kit ephemera. We will do a few videos where we do some actual specialized ephemera, which is my niche. That's what I love to do, but we're going to keep it simple for the beginners. Kits are a great way to start. Kits that come with everything, that comes with tags and pockets and pages and papers and all of this stuff and fussy cuts and all the beautiful things that we love to use. So I'm using the My Porch Prints. It's the Christmas Patisserie. So yeah, so I'm just going to put this note down here. Well, let me just mention it now because I will forget. So I am in a mode right now where I am doing a shout out for Root Pursuit YouTube channel. That's Kelly over there. She is in a long-term crisis in her life. Her husband is very ill and she is really needing the support of the junk journal community. So if you would hop on over and check out her channel, subscribe, like her videos, watch her videos. She's got some great content. So I will link her down below in the description box so that you can head on over. I know that my followers like to do that, so I would really love it if you would go show her some love and support so she can continue her earnings on YouTube as she is balancing all of the pieces of her life now. I'll be mentioning that in a few videos just to get that really rolling, and then we'll let that go. So I use gaffer's tape to tape my pieces together, which will make more sense in a minute. So that's what I like to use. I've got my PVA glue is what I prefer to use, and I've got Fabri-Tac. I do often like to use both when I'm working with fabric, so we're going to be covering this with fabric. I like this bigger, thicker, this bigger soft brush to spread my PVA glue. I also have a stack of paper towels because it gets pretty messy. You'll want to protect your surface if that's important to you. I work on a glass mat. I work directly on the mat because it cleans up really well. This is the wax thread that I use. I picked white, but I just wanted to show you the style. I will link a beginner's bookbinding kit for you. It comes with needles and all kinds of things. So it's very affordable. I think like the last time I saw it was like $10.99. Really affordable. Just wanted to show you that. So back to the camera. We are this close to going live on the DSLR camera. This close. So super excited. But I have to relax and breathe because it makes me crazy that I can't just do it now. So anyway, I've got a needle. You just want a needle that's going to feed your wax thread through. It's somewhat thickish. You know, it's obviously thicker than a sewing thread, so you'll want to be keeping that in mind. We'll talk about the lengths of this, but I already have my pieces pre-cut, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We don't need this yet, so I'm going to set that over to the side. You'll need an awl. I also have one of those fancy cradles, but I don't use it. I find that I can do just fine doing this the way that I'm going to show you how to do it. So list of supplies. You are going to want a journal kit of your choice, obviously. You're going to want chipboard or a recycled cereal or cracker box. I tend to not like recycled cereal boxes for a bigger journal that we're going to be making today, or we're going to be making in this series. I like chipboard. I will link the chipboard as well down below. It lasts forever. It goes a long ways, and I think it's quite affordable. You're going to need tape, which we just talked about. I like the gaffer's tape. Whoops. I like the gaffer's tape. You'll need fabric. Okay, so this is my fabric that I chose. So you could also cover this in paper, as I mentioned here, following the same basic steps. You would just use the same measurements, basically. But I just don't prefer paper. I haven't done it a lot, which is probably why I don't prefer it. I just always go towards fabric. We'll also be doing, typically when I do a journal, I do a hidden spine. We're not going to do a hidden spine. We're going to keep this simple, and we're going to poke our holes directly in the spine of the journal when we get to that step. You're going to need wax thread, as we mentioned, a spine template, which you'll see a photo in the photos at the end of the video. Also, it will be on my social media and over on my blog. You'll need an awl, as I just mentioned, to poke your holes. You'll need binder clips, which I did not grab. Well, we don't need those yet, so we're not going to be actually binding our signatures in today. We're just working on the cover. I'm going to show you the papers I selected. And then you'll need PVA glue, and I use the Fabri-Tac. I should have probably just read this instead of showed you everything first and then repeated myself. So we've got two cover pieces, so front and back cover. They measure 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. You'll need two. You'll need a spine that's also out of the chipboard or cereal box, whatever you choose. If you use a lighter cardboard, you're going to get a more flexible cover, which it's going to give you a softer, less rigid result. So that's totally up to you. And then a spine template, you can just use a piece of copy paper. That's all I use. And you can just use the dimensions on my spine. I think it's on the screenshot or the picture. And then you'll need your fabric. So you'll need your fabric to be taller. When these pieces are all together, and it needs to be taller by 1.5 inches on top and bottom and side to side. I'll give you those dimensions here in a moment. So that is that. So I've written on these just for the sake of the video. Let me move this stuff out of the way. So the way this works is you've got your cover, 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, a spine that's 3 by 8 3/4, and the other cover 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. So when we tape these together, we're going to leave a little bit of a gap there that allows for that spine to not bind when it opens and closes. So you're going to want to, when you do this, you're going to want to measure how wide this is. So the chipboard, my chipboard pieces, when they're put together like this, are 14 3/4 inches in total width and 8 3/4 in total height. So our fabric, when I cut my fabric, and I did already cut it, it is 17 3/4 inches wide and 11 3/4 inches high. Okay, so you're going to need your main piece of fabric, which again I've already cut this, and I'll show you those dimensions when we actually start gluing. This is the main piece. Okay, so obviously we're going to put it like this because we want the bright and festive part to show. So that's already been cut. And then this is the inside piece. So this is going to cover all of our work on the inside by going like that. So that's going to be glued in on the inside of the journal. Okay, but let's back up and start with our tape. Okay, so you're going to need, I put my tape and I wrap it around, so I do 2 pieces of tape on each of these seams. So I'm going to need 4 pieces of this tape. I do make them fairly long. A good overlap is always nice. So I'm going to take a moment and cut 4 pieces of this tape, and then we'll continue on. Okay, I forgot another tip. Sometimes it can be hard to have these stay in place when you go to actually make contact with that gaffer's tape. It doesn't come off easily. It'll just tear this chipboard to heck. So I like to use a piece of just Scotch tape. So we're going to do that. We're going to just set this one aside, and we're going to just work on these 2 pieces first. So obviously your spine goes in the middle. And if it's not absolutely perfect, don't stress about it. It's not about perfection. It's about joy in the journey, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just put some tape there. It just allows that to stay in place when I come down with the gaffer's tape so that these chipboard pieces do not move like they just did. So I like to put two pieces, one on towards the top and one towards the bottom, okay? So now we're going to take the first piece of gaffer's tape. This I didn't measure. This is about 13 and a quarter inches long. It doesn't matter. I just like to have it wrap over the top and back to the other side. So I do try to center it as best I can. And the nice thing about gaffer's tape is you can see through it. So I'm just going to plop that down and give that a good push. And then we're going to go ahead and pull that up so we can turn it. It's really strong tape, which is why I recommend it. And then we're just going to wrap that around here. Okay. And we'll talk about fabric thickness here in a moment, and I'll tell you what I do sometimes and what I didn't need to do today. So I'm going to go with the second piece and go the opposite direction and put it on here and wrap it around again. If you have, well, I'll talk about it now since we're doing this. If you have a thin fabric, this gaffer's tape is going to show. So you have a couple of options. You can use a heat and bond a sewing product. I have had times when I have covered after I've taped my cover together, I cover it with paper, and then that hides that gaffer's tape. So that's a couple of options you have if you're working with a thinner fabric. My fabric is really is a lot thicker, so I don't think I'm going to have any trouble with that. Okay, so now we're going to do the other piece, and none of this writing is going to show. I probably should have taken a picture, but it's all in the directions, and that will also be a photo at the end of an image at the end of the photos at the end of the video. Holy Toledo. Okay. I got up it's Sunday the 30th. I woke up early just because I've got so much to do. So I'm so behind, and so I come in here and I'm like, yay, I'm ready to go. And nothing was working again. I couldn't get my camera to switch to webcam again. And so I was on with ChatGPT for another hour and a half. And so I've only had one cup of coffee. I had coffee while I was talking to ChatGPT, which is, I'm not big into AI and all that, but it's been super helpful in this. It's been a lifesaver. I would have walked away. I would have returned the camera and said, I'm just going to do what I've always done and just scrap this whole thing. But I'm doing it. So again, you're going to do that same thing. You're just going to put that down, give it a good rub, make it sure it's adhering. If you try to pull it up off that chipboard now, it's going to rip a layer of your chipboard off. So I do not recommend that. And again, wrap that around. Okay. And that is it. And then, so you'll see how it bends here. So let me talk about why I chose a 3-inch spine. So this is my rule. I like my journals to be chunky but not gator mouse. So in order to avoid that, you want to allow plenty of room in your spine for bulk. So I allow a 1-inch spine for every signature that I do. We're doing 3 signatures in this journal, so I have a 3-inch spine. Now, if that was too much for you and you're a beginner and you want to do 1 signature or you want to do 2 signatures, you would just change the size of the width of your spine. Okay, you can alter that. Okay, so that is that. So now comes the messy part. So we are going to go ahead. I have a plate. You could use a paper plate, but this is just something I keep in the studio, so I'm going to use it. And, I just dragged my string off the table. So I'm trying to keep this kind of in view for you. And I just like to pour out my thing is clogged, so I have to open it all the way up. And I'm just going to pour a bunch on my plate. You do need quite a bit, so I'm going to go with that to start with. Okay. And I'm going to grab that brush, and I'm going to start from left to right, and I'm only going to go probably to here with my glue, and then we'll put our fabric down on the table, and then we'll flip this over on it, but that will again make sense when you see me do it. I'm going to bring this over here. Okay, so you want to be pretty generous with your PVA glue, so I go over that edge. Okay, don't worry about the table, mine cleans up beautifully. Now, the reason why I like to use Fabri-Tac as well is because sometimes I have problems with this actually totally adhering my fabric, so that I don't get parts that are puffed up and are not adhering. So we're going to do that today as well. I recommend it. So I didn't flip that over, so let me do that really quick. And I'm just going to put it, I'm going to focus a lot of it here because it's on this bend that I tend to have the problem. So I'm going to put some there, and then I'm just going to randomly place it kind of in zigzag fashion here all over there. Okay, I don't worry too much about the edges. We've probably got enough PVA there. I'm going to move that and move this, and I'm going to set this aside for a moment. Don't worry about the desk. This all dries. PVA glue dries clear, so I believe. Well, let's just go ahead and wipe it. Oh, let's just wipe it up. So see how that matte cleans up? It's just so lovely. Okay, so we're going to turn this like this. Okay, we're going to put that down, and I'm going to stand up because that helps me get this in perspective. So this is, again, it's the size of all three of those pieces plus 1.5 inches on the top and 1.5 inches on each side. So I'm going to aim to, to stick with that as best I can. I like to allow that much because if I make an error, I am good. Okay, so that looks about right. So just give that a good press. I'm going to go ahead and sit back down, and I'm going to use a paper towel. I'm just going to grab a different one here, and I'm just going to use that to rub. Okay, and then we'll turn this over and we'll do the same on the other side. Okay, we're going to just kind of do this in sections so you can see how that went through. That I should have kept that wipe. Let me just do that again. It does come through, don't you worry. Okay, it kind of gives a stiffness to your fabric, which I think is actually kind of a benefit. And so that I'm just going to I'm going to use the wipe here because it's not going to drag on there as much. And I'm just going to really push that down. And I'm only going to mid-spine there. Okay, that's all going to dry fine, so don't worry about that. And now if you have thin fabric, you might get a result here that you do not like. So I would strongly suggest you use the Heat and Bond. It's affordable as well, and oh, it took color off of that fabric. Isn't that interesting? Little bits of pink. Okay, turn it back over. This is going quite well, if I do say so myself. So I'm going to just scooch that over. Doesn't matter which, I know the notes are upside down. It doesn't matter at this point. Okay, I'm going to need more PVA glue. I need to order some more. I wasn't able to get the big bottle. Usually I get the big one because I go through it so fast. So then you're going to want to pull this back. Actually, we got to flip it back over. I'm sorry. Flip it back over. And then I'm going to pull that back a little bit just so I can reinforce that area there with the PVA glue. Okay. I'm a little bit off camera, guys, on that my left side. No big deal. So yesterday, my husband, he's been so helpful in the studio with this whole setup, and my camera is so heavy that it was just not stable. I mean, it wouldn't have fallen down, but it was, if I bump my desk, it's going to move. So he took my metal shelf and he reinforced it with wood underneath, and then he attached another shelf on top of it so that I have extra storage in front of me, which is really beautiful. And I'm so grateful. So we are in a good position. The only thing we're waiting on is I need to work with ChatGPT on the microphone settings in the camera, and then we'll be golden, I think. And then we can start actually doing some real live testing. So hopefully. But yeah, Mac rolled out an update that was just an absolute disaster. So I'm still fussing with that, and I hope that they revert that because it just broke my computer. It actually disabled my USB hub. It blew it out, and I had to buy another one, which is, you know, not a big deal, but frustrating nonetheless. Okay, so again, we're going to bring in the Fabri-Tac, and we're gonna focus a lot here because this is part of the spine. Okay, like so, and then we're going to go up that strip because that's where our fold is, and then I'm going to go, let's be a little bit more precise this time and go around the edges. Okay, most people don't use Fabri-Tac too, but I do. So you'll figure out what your preferred method is and what you're successful at. So I'm just showing you what I do because that's my frame of reference. Okay, now this time we don't have to flip it over, but I am going to pick it up and I'm going to try to wipe some of this up so we don't transfer any more gunk than we have to. Okay, still in my pajamas, so I'm just going to wipe my hands on my pajamas. My husband's still sleeping, so it's only, what, 7 o'clock? 7:43. I've been up since 4:15. Just couldn't sleep, too much on my mind. Okay, so just really pushing that down again. I'm going to use the paper towel because I don't want to transfer that, pull up that color from the fabric with the wet wipe. So just doing that. Okay, love this material. I was glad that I found something in my stash. I didn't have to actually go. Why am I seeing so many dark spots? See all those dark spots? So really work that in. You could also use your bone folder. I also have like a scraper tool. Let me see if I can find the scraper one because I think that might be really effective. I have it for my mixed media work and stuff. So something like this would be very effective because you could draw it down like this, okay? And really give that a good push. I need to keep this out so I remember to use it. There we go. Awesome. It looks good. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and pick this up, and our desk should be mostly clean. Got just a little bit of goops there. So I also have this like triangle thing. So let me show it to you. I don't think I want to use it today because I don't normally use it. I don't want to mess it up, but you can use this to determine where you need to cut your slats. I'll show you what I do. Everybody kind of does this differently. We've got a lot of border here to work with, but I think we're going to be fine. So we don't actually need the thread and needle today, guys. I just wanted to show you. I'm just looking at it over there. Just wanted to show you what you will need for this cover and binding process. In the next video, we'll do the binding. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab my fabric scissors, which are in a drawer that is in front of me. Okay, and I like to just come about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. I do have to pull this off my table, so I'll show it to you in a second. Okay, I'm going to go like that. I know you can't see it. Hopefully I'm doing this right. No. That's not what I do. I don't cut anything off, guys. Okay, I'm not going to cut anything off. I'm so sorry. I was doing it the way other people have done it, and I don't do that. So I use the whole square. So I've already cut that, but that's not a problem. So I need more PVA glue here. I wonder if I can move. Let me move my camera up and see if I can capture more of my desk here without showing my body. There we go. Nope, not working. I've got the R6 is up there too, so I don't have as much room to move. So okay, so what you're going to do, I just use the PVA glue here, and so I'm going to put some right here on this corner, and I'm also going to put it on the fabric, just on that little bit there. I'm going to get some in the thing there, and I'm just going to fold this, and I fold it at a 90-degree angle. So even though I started to cut that, I think we'll be okay. I'm going to pull that corner really tight, okay, like that. And the reason why I put the the white glue here as well is because I want that flap to stay put, okay? All right, and then we'll get to we'll fix that corner in a sec. So I'm gonna do this corner as well. So again, just cover this corner with your white glue, and then put some here as well. And there's tons of people out there that do this, so if this method doesn't suit you, or you have a better way, please do what you need to do, okay? I'm just going to pat that down so I can make that fabric really stick on those corners, okay? All right. And I think on this one we're going to put some gold metal corners on it, so we'll do that in the next video, I believe. So again, all the way on this piece of the fabric, get some glue in this area too. Kind of make sure that you've got enough to adhere the edge of that that chipboard as well. So just again, try to aim for a 90-degree angle if you can. Okay, boom. All right, so we got another corner. Well, we got to fix that when we do that long side. I really messed that up. I think when I got that triangle thing out, it messed me up. I need a little bit more PVA glue. Sorry, I can't move the camera up higher. The Brio doesn't, the arm that the R6 is on doesn't rotate as wide as my webcam arm will, so. But she's solid, she's not going anywhere. Okay, just like that. And then we're just about done with that part, and then we'll work on the long sides. So again, 90-degree angle, if you can. And tug this pretty close, like you don't want the corner to poke through, but you want it to be nice and snug, and then just push everything down with your paper towel, okay, like that. We'll clean up this desk in a moment. I'm going to flip to the troublesome side, the side that I messed up, and we're going to fix this. So you can see I've got a split here. See, I've got a split, but that's not a problem. We're going to fold this over. And when you fold it and you put the glue down, you're going to tug this and really pull it, cinch it in. But I'm going to go ahead and use, this is the part where I like to use a little bit of Fabri-Tac. I mean, we don't really need to use the Fabri-Tac here. Normally I'll put the white glue here, put Fabri-Tac on here, but I think we'll stick with the white glue since it's just a beginner series. I don't know that you really need the Fabri-Tac, so let's just keep this simple. So you can kind of test this and see where you need your glue. So we need to capture part of this triangle right here and part of this triangle over here. And then don't worry if you go over the region that you need for your actual fabric. I'm going to go ahead and double up and put some here and along that edge, okay? Get a good adhesion. Okay, and then again you're going to pull this and you're going to tug it away from you, okay? And then just really push that in and just really massage that to a point where it's tight, okay? And everything should be sticking now. I need to grab that stack of paper towels. It's so sticky. There we go. So let's just use the paper towel to kind of push that all down without getting any more sticky than I already am. Okay, so don't worry about what's showing. You might experience some white driplets of glue. Don't worry, you can kind of wipe as you go. And then I like to do the other long side as well. Same process. I'll probably speed this up. I was just thinking something we probably need to do is go ahead and bend this as well. So that we get that, as that glue is drying, it's going to really cinch that up in that fold. It's not going to Yeah, it's usually when I put the inside panel on that I have the most trouble. So when we get to there, we'll talk about that. So my desk is not wide enough here, so I have to kind of set it up here, leaning against my shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same here. Okay, this is the last bit. And so if you don't like these corners, you can do it the other way where you cut the corner of your fabric. But I always end up with part of my chipboard not being covered, so I haven't mastered that. So please feel free to watch somebody else too if you're not feeling good about my method. I am not exclusive to this in any way. Okay. Toss that paper towel. I think I threw that other wipe on the floor. I moved my garbage can. So there we go. So that's what she looks like on the front. Looks amazing. I think some of those dark spots are just glue, and that will probably resolve. But we cannot see the gaffer's tape, which is nice. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do the center. I thought I didn't need any more PVA glue. I do use both Fabri-Tac and PVA on the inside, just because, again, I have trouble with that, with things adhering. So I'm going to go ahead and move this plate up so you guys can see. And I'm going to move my Fabri-Tac over here and inside, upside down. And this is going to basically cover a multitude of sins here because it is pretty big. So see what it's covering? It's going to come all the way down to our to our edges and our corners. Oh, I've got a pen mark there. Oh man, that's a bummer. I marked it with a pin before I tore it. So that's going to be fine. That's going to be absolutely fine. So what I like to do, it's in the position I want it to be in. So I'm just going to fold this back, okay? And I'm going to put my glue here. And again, I'm going almost all the way to the edge, okay? Just like that. Be generous. Don't be stingy with your PVA glue, okay? We want this to really adhere well. I'm going to need more glue, apparently. I'm going to go all the way up. If it goes over, you're not going to see the PVA glue. It's just going to stiffen everything up, which can be a benefit, okay? Well, there we go. More. So I'm going to go just to there because I want to control how this fabric is going to adhere on the spine edge there, this line. Okay. So I'm going to come in with the Fabri-Tac as well, and again I'm focusing on this area because Fabri-Tac is a quick stick. I mean, you can move it, but for this purpose we're just going to do it. We're going to go all around, just like we did on the cover. It's not a problem. Just kind of go back and forth. You don't have to spread this out, in my opinion. And then we're going to go ahead and, without moving this side, we're going to lay this back down. Okay. And then we're going to spread it out, push it down. Okay. Grab a paper towel here. Yeah, that looks really good. So what I like to do at this point is go ahead and bend this. So see how I've got wrinkles there? That's what I do not want, okay? So I'm gonna use that little thing I had and just really press that out. And sometimes that just takes some time. So you can also use the tool in this way and kind of get in there and just make those bubbles go out. I know that it's hard to see at this angle. We can kind of push those out. It's just the excess fabric that's having a fit. It's not going to show, so if it doesn't work out well for you, we cover the inside, front and back cover, so don't worry about it. But I still have some wrinkles there. But I found with the last one, when I put together Christina's journal, the keepsake journal, I actually put this under some heavy books and it solved the whole problem. Okay, as long as you got enough glue under there. Okay, so now we're going to peel this. Oh, we're a little bit off on this side now. Yeah, we can't really affect that though. You can stretch it a little bit, but I went a little bit far on that edge. Not a problem. Okay, so we're going to pull this back a little bit because we've got some stickage there because we had some overflow of the glue. Okay, and I'm going to get more PVA glue. I know that's off camera for you guys, but I'm just pouring it onto that plate, and we're going to continue. Lots of crafters like to use paper. I really need to try that more because it does give you a lot more options, especially if you're doing a themed journal. You can actually use papers from your kit. But it's just not something that I've gravitated towards, but I probably should figure out how to master that as well for y'all, for the world at large, the universe. There we go. Okay, so now our fabric tack. So again, I'm focusing it here in this area because that's our spine. And aside from the spine, just to the right of that fold there, and then around. And again, you know, fabric tack can be overkill, but I'm just sharing what works for me, okay? Doubling up on the glue. I'll wipe that off so I don't get white glue in my jar, okay? So same thing, we're going to pull this over and we're going to smooth it out as we go. I think that might have been a mistake that I made in the other side, and just kind of give that a tug too, so that will help you eliminate those wrinkles as well. Okay, my hands are so sticky. So sticky. Don't you worry about that. If the fabric doesn't quite go to the edge, I'm going to show you in a future video how you can solve that, okay? I do have a little bit of excess there, so I'm going to try to pull this downward, okay? A little bit. Okay, so let's use this trick again and just kind of pull that out to the edge. Smooth that glue out to the edge. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we're doing. So I've got some wrinkles in there, which I think will be solved by just putting the books, heavy books on it again. That worked really well for Christina's journal, person who purchased the keepsake journal, which I get to get out this week. So excited. Okay, so we're just gonna, I'm gonna be happy with that because I know that the books worked. So I'm gonna take a moment and I'm gonna put this under some books, and then I'm gonna wash my hands, and so I can show you all the signature pages that we're gonna be using. So I'll be right back. Okay, I fake washed my hands. You can still feel that PVA glue is like school glue, so it's still, I didn't actually go wash my hands, but I wanted to get back to you and show you what we have here. So I have 3 signatures. They're not in any order. We'll talk about the order of the pages in the next video. But I like to put vellum pages in my journal. I know not everybody's printers can print vellum, but mine will take this heavy vellum, and I'll link it down below. It's very durable, and my printer doesn't have any trouble at all. So usually, I don't think I talked about the... Oh, I didn't. What did I do with that sticky note? Oh my goodness. So we have 3 signatures. Let's count our pages together because I think I threw away the sticky note. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages in each signature. Now I don't count, so technically 7, because I don't put anything on these pages other than maybe a cluster or put a paper clip on one or something, but I don't generally put ephemera on them. Like I don't glue anything on them generally. So I've got, I'll link the kits. These are both, this is Patisserie is from My Porch Prints. This is vintage music paper. It is also from My Porch Prints. So all that will be linked down below. So I've got 2 pages of vellum in that signature, and then these are some of the pages that I selected. So we've got that beautiful image and that one. Let me turn this the other way so you can see those images. Look at that. And then I also did a regular copy of a different music paper page in that same My Porch Prints kit that I will link. And then I did a piece of lined paper and I just backed it with some coffee dyed paper. I will link this one as well. It's from Liana Scrap. It's one of my favorite kits that I bought for tea stain, coffee stain paper because there's like so many pages in the kit. So I'll make sure that you get that too. And I also printed the same one on that. Now on the back of my journal pages, I will also link this kit. You'd have to buy the whole kit to get this exact paper. But this is from Ruby and Pearl, and it is the background paper in her beautiful birds kit. But you guys, if you've been watching me, you know I use this paper all the time. You could put any tea stain paper, print any tea stain paper on the back of your digitals. I like to print tea stained or coffee stained because I like writing space in my journals, and I just like to break up all of the color and the images in a journal. So that's totally up to you. So that's the first signature. And we're just going to quickly go through the other two just so you can see all the pages that I selected. So again, we've got two pieces of vellum. So we've got this image and another Christmas one. And then I'm just going to flip through these. So you might notice let me back up and show you what I chose here. So I have three pages that these are considered the papers. In My Porch Prints language, these are papers, and all of this is all separate kits. So you have to make sure you don't paying attention to what you get. I think there's the papers pages kit, there's the fussy cuts, and then there's a ephemera. So you want to keep that in mind. So 3 of the papers, and then these are considered the pages. So I picked 2 pages for each signature. Okay, and the way you can tell is that these are split, so they fold and they go beautifully in a journal. And then another Christmas paper and another lined paper. Okay, hoping this is helpful. And our last one is this beautiful paper, which I love. So if you look at this up against that, you can see those oranges shine through, or you can see those stripes. Ooh, I like that. So that's why I like vellum. And I usually will coordinate my papers in the signature so that I am highlighting this vellum against the best page possible. Okay, so that's again another tip. So let me just flip through these as well. I did cut my borders off, and often things are crooked, so I've got a little bit of white border there, but I'll just ink that up. Okay, so these are beautiful as well. And then we've got the 2 pages, and then another music paper and another lined paper. And I don't remember, I'll have to look this one up. I can't remember where I don't think I noted it yet, so I'll make sure that I remember that. Oh my goodness, Cara-Renee. But that is it for today, guys. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it gives you confidence. I hope that you'll try it. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to leave them down below in the video description box, and we can talk about your question and get it all answered. I want you to be able to feel confident in building your own journal. And so in the next video, in the series, there'll be another video probably in between. We will, when I'm off camera, I will ink all of these. If you're not an inker, don't worry about it, but I ink around all of the pages front and back. I don't focus too much on the vellum, but all the papers that are on paper, I do ink all around all the edges front and back. The other thing I didn't mention is I use 65-pound paper. I will try to remember to link that as well. I like a heavier stock paper. It's not cardstock, but it's not lightweight either. It's very sturdy, and it holds things really well. So that's that. I think that was the only last detail I wanted to share, but we'll come back and we'll fold all the papers. We'll arrange them in the order we want them to be in. We're going to poke the holes using our awl through the spine. We'll address the spine template, which somehow is misplaced as well. I thought I had a spine template, but my studio has been a mess. So we'll come back and I'll show you how to make the spine template with a piece of paper, and we'll mark it. We'll do all of our things. I'll show you everything from beginning to end in that process, and then we'll be sewing in the signatures one by one into our spine. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.